Hi and welcome to this new StarSpore demo. Today I'm going to be talking about the new release of the work in progress version 0.0.3 of StarSpore, which should be released today, November the 23rd, 2013. So let's get started. As you can see here, the lobby is much more comprehensive than before, and actually from the native application you will have access to blueprints and to create new games. By the way, I temporarily disconnected the online spaceship creation interface that's aimed at getting back in eventually, but for now let's just look at this native application. So starting with the blueprints here, and as you can see there are a couple of different things that you can do. In particular, you can look at the default blueprints. So these default blueprints are those that are installed by the game by default, so you can click on any of them to watch the stats, but you cannot modify them. It will be possible to fly those ships in the game, and they will be used in particular to create the fight arena that we'll see later on. Anyway, the most important part, or the most interesting part here, is probably about creating your own blueprint. So I'm going to hit create blueprint here and create something that I'll call my ship. And this opens the hull creation or the ship creation interface that you know already from the previous videos and the previous release of StarSpore. Now, I'm not going to go through a full tutorial again. The main thing that you need to be aware of is that now the module can have different size. So by default it's scale 5. It can go from 1 to 100, or 100 in this release. For creating a fighter, you would want to have a scale of 1. For creating some kind of a big mothership, probably a scale about 20, 30. To create a space station, you might want to consider go up until scale 100. Here, I'm just going to create a fighter, so I'm starting by reducing the size of this piece of hull, and getting the view to the front, moving back to the centered base view so that I can carry on rotating around. And I'm just going to create a small fighter here, so maybe changing a bit the front hull here, getting some kind of a pyramid view. Then I'm going to create something that will look like some wings on the side. Let's skip on basic L. Same thing here. And that will probably be good enough for the purpose of the demonstration so far. I'm now going to add components. So on all components you can see that there are new things available, namely guns, laser guns and plasma gun. The laser gun is going to send a laser to the opponent, so it's going to be very fast at reaching it, but not so powerful. Then the plasma gun will send a blast of plasma, so it will take more time to reach the target, but when it hits it, it will be much more powerful. The engine can be placed as before, except now they have some actual gameplay impact. So depending on the location of the engine, I will optimize the movement of the ship, the rotation in particular. And of course, the more engines I put, the faster the ship will go. So for now, I'm just going to place a ship in this pattern here, and maybe some engines on the sides, just to make it easier for me to turn into certain directions. Actually, I've got a bit of an inconsistency here. This wing is bigger. I don't mean for that to be the case. So I'm just going to go back to the basic hull here and decrease the size of these parts, and not completely satisfied by it yet. Let me see. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so now I've got a ship with engines, with lasers, so everything should be set. I can save my ship. Oh, as a matter of fact, last thing I need to do here is to change the material. I don't really like this default material. Again, that's as before. Let's create a reddish ship. Yeah, red. Something like this. Change the density of blocks and maybe increase the density of pipes. I'm just playing with material here. Okay, now I've got something that's much more appealing. I can now save this ship, and hitting escape will bring me back to the blueprint creation area. If I go to local blueprints, now I can see that this ship has been listed in my local blueprints. Actually, I had a few ones already here, and if I click on it, I can see the meta information. Now, nothing has been computed yet. The computation takes some time, so I'm going to have to do this by clicking here, which will basically compute the volume of the ship, compute the weight, the amount of material that is required to create the hull, and deduce from all of these measurements the resistance of the ship, how fast it's going to be, what is the center of inertia, and things like that. And here we are. This ship costs in particular 7,500 standard currency, whatever that means at this stage. It would take an hour for a man or a worker to build that ship. This very statistic doesn't have any impact in the game yet, but as you might imagine, very soon there will be means to create and build ships within the game. Anyway, carrying on. So now I've got the ship, I've got all the data that have been computed, so I can try it out. I'm going to exit from this interface and start a solo scenario. Select one of those three scenarios. I like main station quite a lot actually. Selecting the ship, and I'm going to fly my ship. Then start. So let me actually accelerate to avoid being shot to death straight at the beginning. So a few things here. You can see on the top left corner there is the power that is being sent to the engine. So if I reduce the power or increase the power, you can see that the animation in the engine changes, so that reflects the amount of energy that I'm putting there. And of course, depending on how much energy, I will spend more or less of my energy, energy stored in the ship. So you might feel like this particles here is a bit disturbing here. What you can do is hit the left button, sorry, of the mouse, or the right one rather, and when you do that, then you can change the orientation of the view. Hitting the mouse wheel will allow me to get a little bit further or closer, and that way I can select an angle that is much more reasonable for me. If I hit X, I'm going back to the default angle. Alright, so let's see some trivia, some basic. As before, I'm going to be able to rotate the ship, to move it obviously, hitting the usual key. So for now the game is QWERTY configure. I apologize if you're using a different layout, but A will allow me to go on the left, D on the right, W on the top, S on the bottom, Z will allow to rotate this way on the left, and C on the right. As you can see, you have different engines that gets activated depending on the direction where I'm going. So that's where the location of these engines comes into play. The rotation characteristics of the ship will depend on the position of the engines on the ship, and of course you need to try things out to end up on the setup that is appropriate with regards to the maneuverability that you are looking for. Anyway, let me accelerate a bit now and go to mine number 1. So as before, I hit 1, which selects the target, so this mine. I'm going to go towards it, just shooting a bit using the space bar or the left key of the mouse to have an idea where the target is. For now, the turrets are automatically geared towards the target. You don't have to aim manually. Still thinking of whether there's going to be a behavior that sticks or having something else, but for now that simplifies the design a little bit. So anyway, from there on you can just hit and try to destroy that enemy over there. Usually weapons or current weapons are not very effective below 5 kilometers. So see here, I'm a little bit too far away. The life of the target isn't really decreasing, but if I'm getting closer, let's see, just a couple of meters more, yeah, and now it's slowly decreasing. And if I rotate, you can see the two kinds of weapon attacking in a different way. Of course, I'm attacking a mine, which is some kind of a turret here, which is fighting back. Alright, so that's about it for the solo game, which I'm going to exit now. You will be able to start a server as well, setting things such as the name, the maximum amount of player, the maximum price of the ship that are allowed to connect to the game. So 20,000, for example, is a pretty decent price for a fighter, and then you can configure the port on which people have to connect to. Then once servers are created, if you would like to join them, you can just click on connect to multiplayer, and the list of server available will just get displayed here. So that's about it for now. This is StarSpore 0.0.3. Now this is still a very early version of the game. There is still a lot of bugs, and actually the gameplay is mainly still to be designed yet. However, as you can see, there are a couple of things available in terms of demonstrators. So I would like to invite everybody to join in tomorrow. So that would be Sunday, December the 24th. I'm planning to open a server at 1 p.m. US East Coast time. That would be 7 p.m. Central European time. So I'd like to invite everybody to join in, create server, try out the connect to servers, and try out the game. Oh, did I say something different than November? Okay, so apparently I just said December, so obviously Christmas is not there yet, so let me fix that. So again, the date for the StarSpore online trial is the 24th of November. Sorry about that. 1 p.m. in America, so East Coast time, 7 p.m. Central European time, so Paris, Berlin, this kind of time zone. I'll post it anyway, so that things are clear. But please join in. Please connect to the servers that are available. Please create your own servers if there is no more room, and provide feedback on the StarSpore forum. See you there.